Hello everybody and welcome out to 2K14 Universe. I'm your host Jitch and you're watching NXT.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Tampa, Florida, weighing 302 pounds, Big E Langston.
Well, Big E Langston is the first of our 4 semi-finalists to step up into the ring here tonight. We'll see if Big E can make it to the finals next week. Either Big E or Titus O'Neil is set to compete in the finals next week in the main event of NXT. And you heard it from Bryce Walker just moments ago to kick off tonight's episode of NXT. He is prepared for his match with Sergeant Slaughter, which comes your way following this match. And then in our main event tonight, Seth Rollins and Andre the Giant. One of those two will face the winner of this match in the NXT Championship Tournament Finals next week. I cannot begin to imagine who the next NXT champion will be at this rate. And we are just waiting for the arrival now. Sorry, I just read that Theory failed to cash in his Money in the Bank contract on a mid-card title. There's someone that really doesn't like Theory, that's hilarious. Oh, that's really funny. Man, you can tell that they really don't want to push him. I mean, maybe they do and they're just delaying it, I don't know. Anyway, that's not important, I'm not talking about who the fuck is Theory. This is Titus O'Neil, baby. Titus O'Neil. I tell you, you want to talk about people who have made impressive first impressions in NXT. Talk about these two right here, especially Titus O'Neil. I tell you, this guy has been monumentally impressive. I wasn't expecting this guy to take off as hot as he has, but Titus O'Neil, right from the beginning, this guy has been fantastic. You know, I think everyone in the NXT Championship tournament that you see right now, they have not lost a single match. Anyone who has advanced this far into the tournament. These 4 finalists, they are all undefeated right now. Going into next week's tournament finals, both of those men will be 5-0. It's going to be pretty big, that's for sure. But yeah, so here we go in this one-on-one matchup, Big E Langston and Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil to get to this point thus far in the first round of the NXT Championship tournament, knocked off Big John Studd. That was to qualify for the tournament, and then last week the first week in the quarterfinals, 2 weeks ago, sorry, he defeated Dusty Rhodes, who ended up winning a Battle Royal last week to compete in an Earn Your Spot match in which he lost to SmackDown's Robert Scorpio, so Dusty Rhodes will still be a part of NXT for the foreseeable future. And I'm kind of glad because the black and gold, the polka dots, that man feels like he fits right in here in NXT, but I'm also sad for him because obviously, you know, I mean, in a way, I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just a brand change in the end, you know? Sure, you're going to be performing in front of bigger crowds on SmackDown Superstars, wherever it is you end up competing. Obviously, it'd be Superstars to start with, but you work your way to SmackDown and maybe pay-per-views, you know. Obviously, you know, it's a ladder system in which you go higher and higher. But that's not to say that being here in NXT is necessarily a bad thing. Just like how every single person who was eliminated from the NXT Championship tournament will undoubtedly still vie to be NXT champion. It doesn't just end there. It's not like it's all over. Darren Young really, I think, playing with fire here, getting involved this early on. I think he's kind of Titus O'Neil's insurance policy, so to speak, in this, and he doesn't want to risk getting kicked this early on in the match, but perhaps Titus is feeling a little more confident tonight, I don't know. The back suplex slamming down Big E, but Big E with a rake to the eyes as he manages to take control of Titus O'Neil once again. Big E's path to destruction to get here has already been 2 very impressive matches, as he, sorry, they're going to be 4-0 next week, the two finalists, not 5-0. I don't know where I got the idea that they competed in that many. I think Darren Young just got kicked from ringside already. Wow, okay. But Big E Langston has had some very impressive competition. His 2 matches, a really tough back and forth between Fandango that saw him defeat Fandango to advance, and then of course we saw in the quarterfinals to get to this point a really impressive matchup between he and Razor Ramon, and that huge clothesline from Big E as he goes in for the cover. It's over. Titus O'Neil lights out, and just like that, in just 3 minutes and 17 seconds, I guess 3 were enough, this man is now the first finalist in the NXT Championship tournament. What a defiant victory that was for Big E Langston. This guy is red hot right now, and I think he's got a really good chance of winning that NXT Championship. The only problem is it's either Andre the Giant or Seth Rollins next week. He is 1 step away from becoming NXT champion, but both obstacles in your way are very daunting. As we move on to our next match of the night, though, we heard it from Bryce Walker moments ago. He is ready. He is ready to surprise Sergeant Slaughter in a huge way as he is set to get his revenge on Slaughter one-on-one next. It was 2 weeks ago, I believe, that, or maybe it was last week. I can't actually. I think it was last week that Sergeant Slaughter was knocked out of the NXT Championship tournament by Seth Rollins, who I believe here tonight against Andre the Giant is set to compete in his 3rd NXT main event. Seth Rollins has really secured that spot. Can he continue to make it 4 and become the first NXT champion? We find out about that later on tonight. But right now, Sergeant Slaughter makes his way down to the ring, complete with the not American flag. I think he's a little confused. Here we go.
And approaching the ring from New York, Bryce Walker.
Well, Bryce Walker really won over the hearts of the fans pretty quickly in his debut match. He was very impressive, and I think a lot of people he really resonated with. This guy's obviously a lot smaller than most, and not exactly the biggest in terms of build, but he's got a lot of heart and a lot of devotion to this sport. And I think as a great ground-based, technical wrestler, works very fast, light on his feet. I think this is someone with a lot of potential. And perhaps the NXT Championship isn't in sight right now, but that doesn't mean that it will always be that way. And I think he knows that. Bryce Walker, though, he's got a little bit of confidence in him here tonight as he makes his way down to the ring. Can he defeat Sergeant Slaughter in this much-awaited rematch? It has been a long time brewing. He's been waiting on this one. He was so glad to see Rollins eliminate Slaughter. What is this? The bell hasn't rung yet. And Bryce, okay, he's back up the intro. What on earth?
Bryce Walker from Indiana.
He made his entrance just to head back up to the entryway. And look at the absolute size of this guy. Is this the huge surprise that he was talking about? Because if so, that is pretty huge. I mean, how freaking big is this guy? The size difference between him and Bryce. Bryce is on an elevated ramp right now, if you're wondering why he looks tall as well. I take it Walker is sitting this one out, perhaps. Well, he'd been saying for a while how he wanted to teach Slaughter a lesson, and how he's sick of all these old men invading the future generation. Ooh, Well, Slaughter knocked down straight away. And I guess, yeah, Walker is sitting this one out. Slaughter getting manhandled by this absolute giant of a man. Very thick, very beefy, very strong. Got the exact same size. Oh my god, look at the size difference between Walker and Wolf. My god.
We're in the feeling out process here. Who's going to get the advantage and maintain control?
Shoutouts to the Big Show there from Wolf Kessler. Slaughter looking absolutely terrified in the face there. Wolf grabbing Slaughter by the throat. And there's a huge choke slam. And Wolf now begging for Slaughter to just get up and take more punishment. Ooh, wow. Cover attempt on Slaughter. And Walker getting a nice up-close view of his pet project destroying a man that he has wanted to see destroyed for quite some... Look at the size difference in these guys. Holy hell. Bryce is something like 5'4". This guy's clearly over 7 foot. Wow, that was a very impressive debut. Quite a huge omission from the NXT Championship tournament, if I do say so myself. But hey, Wolf Kessler makes his very defiant debut as we move towards the main event. It is time to find out who will meet Big E Langston next week on NXT in the NXT Championship Tournament Finals. Will it be Andre the Giant or Seth Rollins?
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring from Davenport, Iowa, weighing 209 pounds, Seth Rollins.
You talk about a guy who clearly has some form of disdain for the older generation, the veterans that are coming into NXT to kick this new brand off. Look no further, Seth Rollins on his path to the NXT Championship. First of all, we saw this guy take on and have a great contest with one of the longest running wrestling veterans there is in Bruno Sammartino. And then last week defeating Sergeant Slaughter. Now here tonight he faces off against Andre the Giant, who is, by the way, the only remaining wrestling veteran in this NXT Championship tournament.
And approaching the ring, accompanied by Bobby the Brain Heenan. From Grenoble in the French Alps, weighing 476 pounds, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant.
I tell you, somewhere down the line, we need to see Andre the Giant and Wolf Kessler in the ring at the same time. I need to know who's the bigger man. I mean, I think it's still Andre the Giant, but it's not going to be by much. This should be an interesting one-on-one match in our main event here tonight. Two people that I think have been very destructive in their path. Two people that have been insanely impressive in their path to the NXT Championship. And to know that it all culminates next week, the winner of this match faces Big E Langston next week to determine the first NXT champion. We are right on the cusp of something huge. A major prospect will be determined from NXT next week, and it could be one of these two men, or it could be Big E Langston. Here we go. Seth Rollins clearly not got the size advantage here tonight, but he's got a lot of wits about him. Very much reminds me of a Chris Jericho in terms of the brains this guy's got in his head. This guy is very cunning, very smart in the way he approaches things. And I think after he destroyed Sergeant Slaughter last week, Slaughter then getting a further taste of his own medicine in that quick destruction from Wolf Kessler tonight, I tell you, I feel like we've got a very formidable duo on our hands. I've been told that next week on NXT we have a tag team match signed off between two people that are of the future generation, so to speak, as Bryce Walker and Wolf Kessler will actually be teaming up next week on NXT, kicking off next week's show. They're going to face off against the team of Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. So that should be very interesting to see what goes down there. Two very similar kind of themed teams on the surface. You've got a kind of a smaller guy and a much larger guy, but I will have to give it up for Wolf. I think he's a lot bigger than Titus. Also next week, following his shortcomings in trying to earn his spot at being a SmackDown superstar, we will be seeing the in-ring return on NXT of Dusty Rhodes. I can't wait to see him back in action next week here on NXT as he faces off against Fandango. Back and forth between these two, and you know, there's no fear in Seth Rollins. That's one of the things I find so admirable about him. He just stared down a man who he comes up to what the pecs of as if he was nothing, as if he was the same size as Seth Rollins. Just not intimidated in the slightest by anyone or anything. There is no fear in Seth Rollins. Big chop to the back of Seth Rollins by Andre the Giant. And knee to the gut, and now a float over neck breaker. I feel like traditionally, you know, looking at this match on paper, I'd have to go with Andre the Giant, but I think Seth Rollins is such a mastermind in that ring. He's so well thought out in everything that he does that I feel like we could actually see Seth Rollins kind of slowly, methodically tear down Andre the Giant piece by piece. You got to think, with an NXT Championship match just next week on NXT for the winner of this match, one of these two gets that humongous opportunity. Now, Andre might need to wisen up though. The brain, Bobby Heenan, he cost King Kong Bundy his match against Ric Flair, and I've been told that's been signed off for 2 weeks' time. King Kong Bundy, Ric Flair set to face off in a submission match, in which Bobby Heenan will be not at ringside. I do believe that the working relationship between Heenan and Bundy is still fine. Don't panic for those of you that are terrified at the idea of them falling apart. The Heenan family is all good. King Kong Bundy said there would have been trouble if Ric Flair advanced further into the tournament, but Andre the Giant took care of Ric Flair.
Once again, thank you for tuning in for NXT.
Thank you. Such an exciting and fun brand. NXT.
Well, he was able to reverse and get out of that. That was just unadulterated power. And again, the feet fly. Seth Rollins squeezing down on the head. And again, another possible momentum shift in this matchup. Whoa! Look at the Giant! And he's not even breaking a sweat out there. He's got him.
Sorry, I've been talking for hours. I streamed earlier. I'm just giving my voice a little bit of a rest.
WWE fans in attendance. Each and every one of them are having a great time tonight.
Seth Rollins in control of this one right now. And I definitely think he has a little bit of an advantage over Seth Rollins. I'm sorry, over Andre the Giant, in that he's able to endure a lot more in terms of, like, he's not worn out. I'm kind of surprised in a way that he doesn't get so easily fatigued, you know? That man is draped in clothing. I mean, I guess, you know, the pants are a little baggy. You can kind of breathe a little bit down there, but I don't know. I look at an outfit like that and I think that's got to be pretty exhausting to be working a match in.
Big time strength there. You are watching
Good for a drop kick, and Andre just dumping Seth Rollins.
breakout superstar. Kick to the midsection. What a
We are almost 6 minutes deep into this one, and we aren't any closer to finding out who the winner of this match is going to be. I feel like Big E Langston really disposed of Titus O'Neil very fast in our opening matchup tonight, whereas these two seem to be really evenly matched with one another.
now his speed's been neutralized. So what he has to do is figure out a way to pick up the pace.
I tell you, I think it's going to take a little more than that running clothesline from Big E Langston to take out either one of these two with the championship on the line next week, though.
What an elbow. And we've come to
Honestly, I'm surprised that Big E isn't in attendance for this match right now. You know, watching on and scoping out his opponents.
What a reversal. Andre the Giant must be hurt here. A regular human being would be knocked out already.
Slamming him down on the knee. Andre the Giant in control of Seth Rollins.
I just can't get
Once
over the
again,
physicality of
the
this
back and forth exchange between these two. Oh, Seth, what was the ref there? That was a little bit shady. So it only takes 1 second to quickly, well, it takes a few, no, 1 second. It takes like 1 minute to grab a steel chair from the outside of the ref down and use that to your advantage. And I get the impression that's not above Seth Rollins. What was that? What the hell did the referee just say? What a buddy. What a buddy.
Giving it absolutely everything they've got. Andre is down and in serious
Seth Rollins manhandling Andre the Giant. Incredible stuff here.
What's he gonna do here? What's he gonna do here?
And another short arm clothesline by Seth Rollins takes down the Giant.
Hey, wait a minute. What's he doing here?
Once again, Seth 3 times in a row. He has caught Andre the Giant with that clothesline. I don't know if he was set to make it 4 there, but Andre moving out of the way and a big elbow cracked across the head of Seth Rollins. Slamming down. Now, I must admit, you know, it's something that Bryce Walker mentioned at the start of the night. There is a little bit of a generational divide here in NXT. From your Andre the Giants, King Kong Bundys, Ric Flairs, Bruno Sammartinos. There is a lot of, you know, Seth Rollins, Big E Langston, Titus O'Neil. And now here we see the sliced bread cover attempt here from Seth Rollins on Andre the Giant. And oh, wow. I give credit to Bobby Heenan for not sweating it there. He seemed fairly confident that Andre wasn't finished, and he wasn't. You don't see a lot of people at ringside that are able to keep their cool there and not immediately panic and get involved, and now we see it. Now we see it. Bobby Heenan up on the apron, doing everything he can to stop Andre from losing this match, but Andre has not submitted. And who the hell is that? He's dressed exactly like Seth Rollins. Who is this guy?
You can see the wear and tear that this fight has taken out of these men.
We got interference out here. Really playing into distracting the ref. Is he gone for Bobby Heenan?
Submission locked in, and this might be it.
Oh my god.
He made it to the ropes.
That's not a wrestler. Somebody get him off of Heenan.
Keen punch.
Bobby Heenan dumped in the ring by this mysterious extra guy dressed exactly like Seth Rollins. And Heenan, what are you doing?
Yeah, with each wrench, this gets closer to being over. Rollins just has so many ways he can beat you, and then he starts breaking the rules.
I don't know who this guy on the outside is here, but he's really sticking his nose in this business. I guess it is his business. He's clearly some kind of associate to Seth Rollins. Big drop kick there takes down Andre the Giant. And now stretching out the Giant. I mean, Andre's arm reaching the ropes. Referee doesn't see it anyway, so I guess the submission doesn't necessarily count. Andre didn't exactly tap out regardless. Can we do something about this guy? I don't know who that is. He should not be out here.
Between the ropes. Each of these competitors is looking for the
He's trying to get the attention of Andre the Giant up on the apron. Andre completely ignoring that. That's a smart move on Andre's part. I guess maybe that was, whoever he is, he's clearly Seth's neutralizer to the fact that Heenan is out there at ringside. Cover attempt. Smart move of Heenan's to get far away from that. Oh god, he's closing in on you, Heenan. You definitely want to watch your back here. Smart of Heenan not to try and lay his hands on this guy, though, with his back turned to Heenan, because I don't feel like that would work out too well. Takedown there. We are over 11 minutes deep into this 20-minute time limit match. That huge knee across the head of Andre the Giant. You got to think at some point, when's it going to be enough? When are we going to see the conclusion of this matchup? Big right hand to the back of Seth Rollins. Andre the Giant continues to throw Rollins into the opposing corner. Neck breaker there by Seth Rollins once again. I think the other guy is gone now. Cover attempt. And Heenan now continuing to be a factor in this match. Honestly, I don't blame Rollins for having a backup plan. I'm just a little shocked that he's already gone, and I don't think he needed to lay his hands on Heenan. Cover attempt, and that's not going to be enough. Drop kick there by Seth Rollins to Andre the Giant. And now a bear hug. Will Seth Rollins be forced to tap out? Oh my god, Andre's head. Oh my god, Andre's head. Oh my god. Andre. Seth, a smart move here. Roll up the big guy. One. Just a one. He's got to do more damage before he can get a 3 count. Almost 13 minutes into this main event matchup to determine who will face off against Big E Langston next week for the vacant NXT Championship. The first ever NXT Champion is set to be crowned. Submission hold here. And the referee sees Seth Rollins forced into submission by this mammoth of a man.
Let's face it, it's going to take a miracle to dethrone this man.
Well, there you have it. And I wish Big E Langston the absolute best of luck next week. He is desperately going to need it. Andre the Giant, the confirmed opponent of Big E Langston in the main event of NXT next week. I hope we get some answers as to who that guy was that interfered in tonight's matchup, but he wasn't able to save it for Seth Rollins. Andre the Giant and Big E Langston for the NXT Championship next week. Don't miss it. Also, Bryce Walker and Wolf Kessler make their tag team debut as they face off against Darren Young and Titus O'Neil, and Dusty Rhodes returns to NXT after failing to make his spot available on Friday Night SmackDown when he faces off against Fandango. I'll see you guys next week for another episode of NXT.